Jackson gave me the news of a planet far away. And Colonel O'Neill will assemble a team that will try to save the day. Dr. Sam has a master plan and a science attitude. And the job for Teal, he's part of the deal with his trusty go-out. It's just a regular day at Stargate Command, and it might be hard to understand.
SG-1 encoded. SG-2 encoded. SG-3 encoded. SG-4 encoded. Oh god, this is gonna happen. SG-5 encoded. SG-6 encoded. SG-7 what? We have a stable world.
Welcome back to another season 4 banger of an episode. I'm your co-fry Sarah.
I'm your co-fry Christina.
And I'm your co-fry Rebecca.
And today we are going to talk about season 4, episode 3, which is Upgrades. One of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, I'm having to adjust my seat. Like, we get ready.
Y'all get comfortable because we're gonna beat this dead horse and drag it out and beat it all over again.
It's so good.
It's so good. But before we get into it, we have some Frybox things to talk about.
Let's do it.
Short, cause we're 3 fry short.
Rebecca, do you want to talk about your companion event that happened yesterday?
I would like Christina to talk about the companion event.
Oh, sure. Okay. On the spot. This is how I roll. Wow, I have been home for like 5 minutes. Let me gather my thoughts on it.
You're like, well, let me give the details and then you can give the color to it. So if anybody doesn't know, but I'm sure most of you in the comments right now, at least, were probably there yesterday as well. We had part 4 of Embracing Mental Health as a Fandom at the Companion. And this time it was with good old Doc Frazier herself, Terrell Rothery. And it was an hour-long live stream followed by a meditation session and social hour if you weren't in the meditation session. So, Christina, how was your experience during all of that?
How do I explain it? It felt like a big warm hug, and I know that seems kind of odd, but I really appreciated the continuation of like kicking off with some sort of grounding or kind of group kind of intention setting that really helped. Especially me get into it. And it was great to see so many familiar, repetitive people, but also new come through it and just share that vulnerability. And Terrell is honestly, I'm gonna speak this in so much truth. I've always enjoyed her. I've always loved Janet Frazier. I've always loved her character, but I have not really looked at Terrell as someone I'm like, oh, like I would watch whatever she's in. Now I'm going back and being like, I want to know everything she's been in. Everything she's been involved in. That woman is a absolute gem of a human being. And it was an honor to be a part of that experience, to like have that conversation with her. And in her words, it felt like we've all known each other for a very long time.
That's what she said afterwards, which was awesome. I was a little nervous. I was like, when I wrote the intro for her, I was like, she's not going to remember that Jack called her that. So when I introduced her as everyone's favorite Napoleonic power monger, I was like, she made a face for a second. I was like, oh God, did she? Oh, but we just rolled right through it. But
but it was so perfectly. It was the perfect intro for her, though.
Yeah.
But those, if you didn't get a chance to attend, whenever it is available on the Companion, it's worth that watch because it really had some inspiring conversations around grief and around kind of displaced grief, and sometimes when grief doesn't have a home and what do you do with that, and also conversations around feeling detached from our bodies. And that really hit home for me in particular, just that conversation of kind of who am I within my body or without my body, and how do you make peace with that. So an honor to be in any of those conversations, but this one in particular, I felt really fortunate to be there for. And then for the social hour after the fact, while you went into meditation, that session that Terrell was doing, Lawrence and I got to kind of hang out in that social hour. And this is the first time that I've actually been able to stay with Lawrence. Usually there's breakout rooms, so that was great to have everyone in one shared space. And if you haven't attended those either, I mean, it's just all of it. The community is getting stronger, more vulnerable. There's a lot of tears shed. It was an emotional roller coaster in the best way possible. But that was it. So if you do see those mental health events coming forward and you are someone who's trying to find a safe community of vulnerable and really anything goes, it was wonderful.
Yeah. We also announced the book.
You did, yes.
Embracing Mental Health as a Fandom, the book with Amanda Tapping. So we're really excited. That's going to be all of my work for the next several weeks, if not months. There was something else. Oh, I really loved all the self-empowerment, like how to not, like basically she was like, imagine you're going to a job interview. What is the worst case scenario is? And then everybody started typing in the comments like worst case scenario. And that's when we got the gem of the chronic comer comment.
Chronic comer. And I mean, the lesson is, you know what? You'll be memorable. Even if you fuck it up, you'll be memorable.
So there's that. Also, if any companion members are, I now know you are because I can see you. I am running a social hour by my lonesome next weekend. Because Lawrence and Tommy are going to be at Follow the Yellow Gate Road convention. Nice. So if anybody wants to come hang out with me, there may be trivia. There may be other things. I don't know yet, but I'll be there.
Nice.
Is the live stream with Terrell available on YouTube yet, or?
It is available in the same link that was sent out. It will probably get edited into a video on demand as well. But if you had the link before, it's still available to watch. If you don't have the link, I might know a few people you could talk to.
Yeah.
Ask us nicely.
You know what? Oh, you know what you haven't done in a while? Drop the email. We haven't done it.
That's right. Wait, and I have a banner. Wait, hold on.
We haven't done it in so long.
Email us at 3 Fry Short. The word 3, not the number, because our branding wasn't all together when we first started this thing. Okay, everybody. But 3 Fry Short podcast at gmail.com. This is a really wonderful segue to our second matter in the Fry box. Anyway, but if you want to tell us a good story, tell us your Stargate discovery story. Maybe ask us on the DL for something. That's fine. Email us. There we go. There's
appropriate things on the DL. Don't just like, if you want things on the DL. I mean, like companion.
We just may or may not reply to you. And so Sarah, since we're talking email now, what else do we have?
So we have a wonderful email from Emily. It's kind of a conversation. So she first reached out January 25th. And she said, "Hi, my name is Emily, and I just found your podcast last night, and I've been listening all day. I'm only on episode 6, but I'm loving it. I'm so excited to continue listening and hopefully at some point catch up to you all." Which
that was what that was January 25th.
Also, one moment. When someone says they found our podcast last night and they're only up to episode 6, we are not short-winded. We are very long-winded. Like,
and it gets better.
Like, that makes me think of, that's like the commitment of the Tisa Risa on TikTok story, that 52. I mean, you're in it for the, like, so we appreciate you.
Who the fuck did I marry? Part 312.
and not to like rag on past self, but like, if you listen to our earlier episodes when we didn't really have our groove down yet, like, you're a trooper. You did it. You made it.
We had whatever rapport with each other at that point that we had too. Which is vastly different now. So.
Absolutely. So I think Rebecca, you replied and just wanted to know where she found us, because it's always interesting to see what channels people find us through. And it was through Amanda's Instagram post with the Embracing Mental Health event that we did with Amanda. So
shout out to Amanda. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks
buddy.
Girl. So again, she found us January 25th, and then February 29th, about a month later, we get another reply. She said, "Hi, I'm finally caught up on all the episodes." She burned through that shit.
Love you. Big hugs.
Love that for you. And she can't wait for the next one. You are all doing an amazing job, and I've so enjoyed listening to you. I love how you can all see things slightly differently or very differently and have a thoughtful and meaningful discussion about things I never would have thought about watching Stargate on my own. I also like how you all give thoughtful explanations of how you think on each topic. If you permit, I'd like to share one of my reactions. In the episode Shades of Grey, I never considered there to be a loyalty test type of dynamic. After listening to your episode, I can sort of see it, especially from Hammond's role, but I still like to think that it wasn't from Jack's point of view. I always read Jack's attempts to drive wedges between himself and the rest of SG-1 less as a test to make sure that they would react properly and more as a safeguard. Being, from our perspective at least, right after 100 days, where Sam worked so hard to get him back. I saw it as him trying to break their trust and loyalty to him enough that they wouldn't continue to fight for him. They wouldn't keep trying to excuse or solve what was wrong with him, but leave him alone and let him go on with his mission by himself. I read it as more of a way of keeping them safe and ensuring they don't get involved, kind of like he attempted to keep them from joining him on the Asgard ship in Nemesis. Not only were they asked by the Asgard for Jack to be the only one involved, but I don't think the plan would have worked with anyone else on SG-1 helping. If they knew, I don't think Sam, Daniel, or Teal could have resisted trying to help Jack somehow. This was how I had viewed that episode, but I'm excited to rewatch it and see if my perspective changes after hearing all of yours analysis. Thank you for the time that you've put in on this, and I wish you all the best. Emily. P.S. I like the headcanon that the Furlings become cats, so I've included a picture of my demonic little Furling, Mira, hanging out with me in my study. And it's the cutest little tortoiseshell
She's
cat. I love her
oh,
so much. Her
it made
cute
me
little
so
chubby
happy.
face. Tortoiseshells
Yeah.
and calicos are so cute.
Yeah, so please send us all your animal pictures if you have cute pets.
Yeah,
We
you
do
can send
like
us that too.
we
To
like cute
link.
pets.
3freshshortpodcast@gmail.com. That's where
Oh,
you
yes.
send it.
Yes, there.
Yeah.
Oh, our banner's still scrolling. Yes.
Yeah, and I
love
looked it
that.
up during the email segment. I felt like that was
Oh.
appropriate.
It
Yeah.
is. It
But
is.
thank you, Emily, for this email. I'm so happy that you're enjoying the content that we're putting out. And like I was thinking about this again too, of Shades of Grey, where the entire time I thought it was a loyalty test just because of that one line Hammond threw out saying we need to make sure you reacted properly. And by that I thought, oh, he was testing them to see they said and did the right things that he expected them to do. But then when I talked to you guys about it, and you kind of put the spin on it. No, like we need to make sure you're reacting properly and not doing shitty acting and being like, "Oh no, what are you doing?" like that fake bad acting. So it was more convincing because it was a
Totally.
genuine reaction. So yeah, like
It's not like that. Act surprised. I know you know everything, but just act surprised.
Right.
yes.
It never works.
You see like you know how they do that fake bad acting in TV shows where it's like I hate that trope because it's so corny. But yeah. And even today, talking about upgrades, I caught myself viewing it differently than I did years ago when I watched it as like a high schooler, middle schooler, whenever I watched it like the first time around. And I watched this episode a lot.
No,
I'm excited. I'm excited to hear
Yeah.
how we all take this episode. I'm very excited about that.
I think we all enjoyed different parts of it, but
Oh
yes.
yeah. So with that being said, let's get into overall thoughts on this.
Yeah.
Oh, also
Okay.
everybody, because this is only the second time we've done it, but if you do have questions or comments about what we're talking about, leave them in the comments. And once we finish the whole run through of the episode, we will address them.
Yes.
Yes.
Feel free to comment, but we promise we're not ignoring you.
No, we're not.
No.
We just have to we have to not derail this train all the time.
We derail ourselves so much anyway. So yes.
Yep.
Comments
But
at the end.
I think that's part of the charm. Sometimes you just gotta riff and it
Just gotta free ball it.
Yeah, free ball it.
Yeah.
Or free ball.
So I'll come out and say it right now. Watching this episode as an adolescent, I always thought SG-1, Sam, Jack, and Daniel were right. And they were just like, this is fucking cool. You guys are just being a wet blanket, not letting us do fun superhero shit and being a stick in the mud, and you suck. Watching it today, I was like, they are clearly like under the influence of
God, yeah.
like, and Yeah. So like my perspective changed from just watching it as a kid where it's like, of course they're like cool doing superhero shit. Yeah, they don't want to take it off and like yeah, they should go out and be fucking heroes. And today I was like they are clearly like on some shit.
I could see how you would feel that as a
Yeah.
teenager though, Sarah, because like
Yeah.
that's what all teenagers like want to do. That's how they want to be. They want to rebel against everything, and so
Yeah.
it works very well for a teenager.
I
Yeah.
have to keep reminding myself that your initial view is that when you were a teenager.
Mhm.
Not
Yeah.
like I have to think about that. I forget constantly that was your experience. Not that I forget it, but I don't.
It was definitely like 7th, 8th grade all through high school. That was
Mhm.
my
Mm.
era. My
That would be the
Stargate
same
era.
as me reacting in a different way to Star Trek Voyager than I did, because
Mhm.
I was in 7th grade when Voyager came out, so it was
Mhm.
that exact same, like,
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mm.
it was very different this time around because I'm like, yeah, they are on like the most wild stimulant you could be on. It's like Adderall times a million or like
Mhm.
whatever type of drug that would be a stimulant. That's
Not
what
gonna
they are
lie,
on.
it reminded me of quite a few people I've transported with EMS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's yeah.
Mhm.
So that was my kind of perspective shift this time. What did you guys like what are your overall thoughts before we get through the episode
Yeah.
walkthrough?
I've got just one
Yep.
big one, I guess. I'll probably come up with other things that I wanna say about this episode, but what I really like thinking about this episode, and I've because I've just been joking, I've been putting hard on our Instagram how we're just gonna be insufferable about the shipping, like, and
Mhm.
I double
Yeah.
down when people say otherwise on our Instagram, so just be ready for the wild ride that's probably gonna happen over there. Um, but I find it really cool if you look at this episode and you look at Divide and Conquer and you look at the scene that, like, is in both of
Yeah.
it's really fun to watch it in upgrades and be like, "That's the version of events they tell everybody." Like, this what we're watching right now is their mission report, you know?
Yes.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
I loved it. I remember that when I watched them for the first time too. I loved that they expanded that because all of a sudden,
That's fucking good.
every time you cut away from them and you went to like Teal'c and Daniel, there's like all of this stuff going on. And it was just, and I'm willing to bet they shot it at the exact same time. Like
Yeah.
they
It
would
was
have had
sure.
to, you
probably
know.
scenes that didn't make the cut or they knew what was
I
coming,
think they
so
knew
they
what was heading that way because it was only
yeah.
2 episodes, there's only 1 episode in between. So, I just loved that, like, to think about it that way of, like, this is in their mission report. We're watching their mission
Yeah.
report right now.
Mhm.
Like, that's
Yeah.
That's a
really
good way to
cool.
think about it.
Yeah.
And that's how they aired the episodes, but it might
Mhm.
not necessarily be how they shot the episodes. They could have done
Correct.
upgrades, Divide and Conquer back to back. Um, but yeah, I love that in Divide and Conquer. Like even with Daniel, you see him like
Wait, no,
throw
no,
the
no,
brick
no.
of Nakoda. Oh, I'm
I don't wanna
sorry.
talk about Divide and Conquer yet.
You
I mean, we
kind of
can.
can't help it though. You
I
kind of
know,
can't help
but
it.
okay.
But on
Okay.
Rebecca's point of expanding the scenes, I totally agree. And even again, as a hormonal 13-year-old watching this, seeing it upgrades, I was like, what's happening here? This is important. There's something going on. I
Mhm.
clocked that shit immediately. And they probably wanted us to clock that shit, but
Mhm.
still, it's like side eye. What is that? What is
Mhm.
that?
When we get
Mhm.
to the particular scene, I'll say
We'll get
something
there.
about it then. I
Okay.
would rather wait, so.
Okay.
Okay.
But there's a
Um,
particular scene where I totally agree that it's like, that would not have happened if they didn't know what the plan was. So, I'll just leave it at that for now.
so thoughts with it still being viewed as like, yeah, this is the reenactment of their mission report. Like with that thought process, I find it comical, and I intentionally stayed away from like the Sam Jack commentary because I was like, let me look at the Teal'c Daniel in this space
Yeah,
and like
there's
how
gonna
they
be
go
enough of
through.
that from the from the
Yeah,
2
the
of
two
us.
of you. So like watching, I love through this acting of Daniel's where he's just very comically like blaming on the cat. Like he's like, well, I mean, it had powers over us. Like I like how his character turns into this kind of like butt hurt, like third wheel, like comical sidekick, like whatever they're doing, he's just along, like he gets jealous of Jack and he's like, oh, Jack can read really fast, I'm gonna read really fast. And like
Love
I
that
just
scene.
all of Daniel's mannerisms throughout the entire episode are very temper tantrumy, but like they feel fake, or they feel kind of
There's one scene, I'm gonna wait for it because I have it in the notes, and I know it's gonna set you off, Christina, in a good way.
But
You're
like
gonna-
Good way.
no, so it cracks me up because like Daniel does that, but then Teal'c double downing on his real seriousness. Like Teal'c's in charge, and Teal'c being very stoic. And again, to we get to the end, so just watching how the two of them double down on his intensity and seriousness and Daniel's jovialness, like, and just those are such a background noise to, again, Sam and Jack just acting out their shippiness, which they probably didn't intend to do in the acting out of the mission report, but it can't be ignored. So I don't know. This feels like teenagers playing make believe.
Like every single situation they're in the episode is teenagers, right? Like all of them.
Like their teenage selves have come through. That's maybe what I'm trying to get at. Like I feel like we're just watching younger versions of them just kick rocks around and have fun.
Yep.
But
there's a
anyway.
companion article that I put in here towards the end that kind of talks about how they like it shows their true selves. Everyone on the team, even Teal'c and Frasier, even they don't have the armbands, but like it like sheds light on each of their characters, which is kind of like what this episode is about, like the characters, and then even like the characters being hyped up to the max. So
it is a really decent Janet episode too, for sure.
Yeah. Yo, she got fucked over, man. I was pissed for her. I was like,
some of those
Tok'ra?
conversations.
This Tok'ra biatch is pulling the wool over her eyes.
100%. Okay, but let's get into it. There's a lot of good. There's a lot of good.
So the episode opens with an incoming wormhole, and they know it's the Tok'ra because they got some kind of like message that was transmitted, but it was really fucking vague. And Jack is already cranky with the Tok'ra. He's sick of their Tok'ra bullshit because they only show up when they need help. Last time they showed up, it was because Jacob got captured, and it's like, well, we know Earth will help us because he's one of their people. And like they don't really ever help us when we need help, because in 100 days, I think it was the Tok'ra that were like, we can get a ship out to him in like a year, and that was all they could fucking do. Bitches. Or was it the Tolan? I don't remember. But anyway, they are not very good friends. And he's definitely more of an Asgard guy because like they're way more chill. And they helped us with the whole gold treaty thing with the System Lord. So two Tok'ra step through the gate. It is a woman accompanied by a man who is carrying a chest. And the woman Tok'ra introduces herself as Anise. There's this back and forth about like what their names mean. Like she's like, my name's Anise. It means I don't remember because I just don't remember. And then Daniel's like, my name's Daniel. It means God is my strength or something. And then Jack is like, my name's Jack. It means what's in the box.
It's like they set that whole scene up for like all the testosterone in the room to be like, hey, girly. And but like the only one that's successfully even a little bit flirting with her is Daniel. Because Jack's like, what's in the box?
Like, what do you want?
Yeah.
So cut to the briefing room. Anise explains, and Anise is the symbiote. So when I say Anise, it is the Gould voice talking, Tok'ra voice talking. And her host is Freya. So Anise explains that she's basically the Daniel Jackson of the Tok'ra, and she studies ancient cultures and has recently discovered these armbands in some ancient ruins of a planet. It's a race called the Ataniks, and their existence and demise predates the Gould. So they are ancient. They have not been around for a long time. They did not have any dog in the fight when it came to the Gould, so there's no one around to tell their stories. Sam chimes in that Jolinar had some knowledge of this, and the armbands were supposed to give the wearer incredible speed and strength. Everyone thought it was a myth until Anise made this discovery. So Anise goes on to explain that they hoped these armbands would give the Tok'ra operatives like a really good advantage, to be like, oh, who doesn't want super speed and super strength and that kind of stuff? But the armbands don't work on the Tok'ra. And it's probably because they have the symbiote, so it will obviously not work on Teal'c as well. Fucking Teal'c, always getting left out of this kind of shit. But
Somehow they
honestly,
scienced out that Sam could, though. Like,
yes.
they're like,
Yeah.
no, that's fine. It's just the
Like
first
she's like, it should be fine. No big deal.
That's not the thing that
No.
makes it not work. It's some other thing that we don't talk about. So SG-1 are intrigued, but Hammond has some questions, rightfully so. Fucking Hammy is like the king of this episode, and Teal'c
Yes.
too. Like
I feel like
they
he's just
saved the day.
daddy. I don't mean daddy in a wrong way, but he's definitely like dad. Sorry, I'll say dad. He's like the dad the entire episode. I feel like he's just reprimanding or coaching his children like the whole fucking time.
Yeah,
Anyway,
He's like, I'm
continue.
so disappointed in you, and that hurts more because he's not angry. He's
Yeah.
disappointed.
I'm not angry.
Mhm.
I'm just
Just disappointed.
So, yeah. Oh God, does she pull that?
Yes.
Always.
She did. She did.
Oh no.
So Anise is being pushy, and she wants to get started right away. In the interest of the human Tok'ra alliance, even threatening to take her toy. She's like, if you don't want to do it, I'll fucking go somewhere else and find someone else. And her host comes forward, her host is Freya, and apologizes on behalf of the Tok'ra. But then Anise comes forward again. She's like, what's it gonna be, bitches? What is your answer? And then we cut to the opening credits.
I do have to say, this time watching through, I was way more impressed with the distinction between the two than I remember like last time I watched this episode. So well done.
Anise is way more chill.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, Freya is way more
Freya
chill.
is way more.
I was like, okay.
Anise has
So-
no chill.
I was like,
Zero.
we have different definitions of chill.
Yeah.
That's okay.
So cut to the infirmary / like a physical therapy place where they have like all this exercise equipment. Like this is where I imagine after they get beat up on some mission where it's like, gotta get the cardio in, make sure like everything's working. Anise is setting Jack up with the armband. She sticks a biosensor to his chest, which will monitor his vitals and send it to her Tok'ra iPad. She puts the armband on, it lights up, and it appears to be functional. Jack notes, he's like, I don't feel anything. Nothing happened. But Anise explains it's probably going to take some time to adjust to his body, or for his body to adjust to the armband. So for now, he can just chill, go about his day normally. And like, her little Tok'ra iPad will pick up, from a long range. So like he doesn't have to stay in one certain area. Cut to Jack and Teal'c are boxing. And Teal'c is like, how's it going? And Jack seems annoyed. He's like, I think this is a crock of shit. Like, I don't feel any different. And I feel nothing.
You're boxing with great proficiency, O'Neill.
Yeah. Teal'c is like, oh no, Jack is like giving Teal'c shit. He's like, stop going easy on me, man. Like, come on. And he says, Teal'c is like, no, you are boxing with great proficiency. And he's like, bro, I am trying, but you are actually doing really good. And Jack is like, he's taken aback. He's like, really? And then we see him dodge a bunch of punches from Teal'c in super speed. Like it's sped up. So it's like superhuman looking. And then like he's blurry because he's going so fast. And then Jack clocks Teal'c with one punch and he's like knocked out cold. And Jack is surprised and confused.
Yeah, I'd say it's working at that point.
Yeah. Like Teal'c is on the floor. He's spread out on the floor.
It makes you wonder though, like because Teal'c had stopped boxing. They stopped boxing at that point, right? And then Jack just like decks him in the face.
He had a lot of resentment building up because I bet Teal'c was always kicking his ass.
Armband or not, like that was a low move.
Yeah. Poor Teal'c. I feel so bad for him. I'm glad he gets an episode next week, even if it might be a stinker.
It's okay.
Anyway.
Something.
Cut to the infirmary. Janet is checking on Teal'c, who has recovered from the punch. Jack is there, mid-eating snack. He's just eating a snack this whole time. And he tells Teal'c very insincerely. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. And Teal'c calls him out. He's like, no, you're not. And then Jack is like, yeah, you're right. I'm not really sorry. Which makes it lines up with your theory, Rebecca, that it was 100% on purpose.
Yeah, like would you be
Just to
sorry?
see.
Absolutely not. He's gonna heal. His symbiote will take care of him. I would absolutely be like, I'm gonna take this shot.
And it's payback for Teal'c cleaning his clock every other time they're boxing,
Exactly.
Yep.
So Anise gives Jack this round ball to squeeze to measure his strength, and he squeezes it, and the little iPad lights up, and it shows his strength is now 5 times that of a normal human. And Jack admits to feeling pretty good, and he throws his balled up food wrapper across the infirmary, and it lands in this very little tiny cup that's like attached to some monitor shit or whatever. And Janet points out his new appetite. She's like, "Oh, you seem very hungry lately." And Anise explains that his metabolism has increased to accommodate the extra physical ability. So, of course, he's going to be a lot more hungry. So, Janet is trying to look at this Tok'ra iPad, and she's like, "Are you going to show me how to read this?" And Anise fucking brushes her
I
off.
was so mad at that.
Uh-huh.
She's like,
So mad.
Visceral reaction to that. Like,
yes.
like, oh,
That
like-
should never have been allowed. Like, I'm sorry.
Immediate problem. Like, I clocked that
Mhm.
immediately, where it was like, oh, there's some fuck shit happening. They're hiding stuff.
Mhm.
And Anise was like, yeah, I'll show you. But first, we need to expand the testing. We need more guinea pigs to test this shit on. Enter Sam and Daniel getting outfitted in the armbands.
Oh.
Sam says exactly what Jack did. Well, Jack, in the meantime, is still just eating snacks in the background, watching everything
honestly,
happen.
my spirit animal this entire episode, because I'm like, I always have a snack in hand, and I'm like, I feel connected to Jack for once. This is the only time I do. But yes, all the
Yeah.
snacks all the time.
And you don't really know what he's eating, but like you can tell he's in the process of eating something. And then I wonder, like,
Constantly.
behind the scenes, like how that had to go. Like, was he just actually eating the stuff? What did he have spit buckets?
I'm sure there's so many spit buckets. There had to
Yeah.
have been. There's no way.
I know what
Or-
happens when you don't when people don't on a set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
Have to have the
they
spit
don't get through, you know, the shoot. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Sam says the same thing Jack did. She's like, I don't feel any different. And Jack, who is just snacking away in the background, he's like, just wait it out, girl.
Mhm.
Cut to Daniel's lab. He is doing some reading when Jack comes in, still eating, like he's just continuously eating.
Always eating.
And Daniel does not feel any different at this point. And again, Jack tells him just give it some time. And then we see Jack pick up this book and he starts to leaf through it. And then it progressively gets faster and faster again, where he reads this entire book in the course of a couple seconds. And we have this bit of dialogue. Do you guys want to read that?
Sure.
All right. Obviously, I'll be Daniel. Did you just read that?
I guess. I don't suppose there's another book around that explains this book.
Okay. What reason did Hobbes give for the fall of the civilization?
Failing agricultural infrastructure.
Jack, that's unbelievable.
Hey, it's just theory.
Okay. So real quick. So what I love about this is that it proves that Jack is actually has the capacity to be smart as fuck, because when he read and comprehended something super speed, he obviously was able to have an interesting, witty thought in response to it. His response was, yeah, it's just theory. Like, I love that it plays into he can comprehend and absorb in a way that he resonates with it or has an opinion or a thought, versus being like, well, that was dumb as shit. I don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
I also do like, I was like, is there another book that explains this
In this book.
Because he's like, I don't get it, but I kind of want to. And if it's only going to take me like 3 seconds, why not?
Yep. Oh, but I love this next part.
Yeah. So Daniel attempts to read a book very fast, but he's unable to. Like, he's trying so hard. He's like, just like trying to go fast. And he just becomes frustrated.
So
I
As
think
I'm
he
telling
stopped.
you, this is the temper tantrums that start with him about like, damn it,
Why don't I have it yet?
hurry up. He's so
I want to
frustrated.
read really fast. And then to make it
God.
worse, Jack is like, you want me to read to you? Want me to read you a story?
Oh.
So, cut to Sam's lab. Janet enters and it's pitch black. And Sam is in there and she's like, yeah, hey, I'm running some tests on the material that the armbands are made of. And Janet flips the lights on and Sam is shocked and she's like, ouch, that's really bright. Her vision has increased and become so much better that she didn't
Mhm.
even notice the lights were off and she could see everything perfectly. So I love how they're showing how their abilities have increased instead of just
Mhm.
Anise reading off of her fucking Toker iPad. Or it's like,
Mhm.
okay, you have
Mhm.
this. Like they're doing that, but they're also
Mhm.
showing how it affects them in everyday life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you can tell Janet is concerned. So do you guys want to read that bit of dialogue between Frasier and Carter?
Yeah. I'll
Yep.
take Carter.
Not be Fraser. Well, it looks normal to me.
I could see in the dark as well as if the light was on.
You're running a slight temperature.
Anise is monitoring our vitals.
Yes, I know.
You don't trust her biosensors?
No, I'm sure her technology is very advanced and very accurate.
So you don't trust her?
I'd like to run a full blood screen.
Sam was really snarky in this.
Yeah, I was trying to do a little bit of that because she really, really was. It's like, God, stop shitting on Janet. Like,
But this is when you first tell, but this is when I first got the ick about the wristbands because I'm like, ooh, that's altering personality.
yeah,
That's
Sam's not like that to Janet ever.
no,
Like,
no, that hit me all the wrong ways because when she gets defensive about like that, when you start defending the other side, I'm like, ooh, that performance enhancement is
Mhm.
also altering brain. Not good.
But it's true though. Janet doesn't trust her. She
No, I
doesn't.
know.
Yeah. So like, but the fact that Sam is like so blatantly calling her out on that and like kind of being mean about it, that's
Right.
messed up. Yeah.
That's
Like
the
she could have
problem.
said it a lot more kindly to be like, do you think something else is like, do you think something's going on? Do you think like like, but no, she was like, oh, you don't
Well,
trust her.
Well, it's very much like an addictive kind of like state of like, no, I'm on this high. I'm good with it. Don't question it. And I'm going to
Yeah.
get defensive if you do. But more on that as we go.
So, cut to Jack. He's on the elliptical while Anise is monitoring him, and he's going cartoonishly fast. Like his torso looks normal, but then his legs are just going at like it's like the Roadrunner. Like
This is like the episode of blurs. Like I feel
Yeah.
like it's so many blurs. Whoever liked to do that for video editing or post, like I'm sure they were having a good old time
Yeah.
with this
Mhm.
episode.
They talk about it in the DVD commentary about how they worked it in post production of like speeding up the top half or whatever. Like how they actually had them run down the hallway and then they just sped it up to
Mhm.
make it blurry. So again, I know I said this in the group chat, but like that elliptical would have burst into flames
Oh
because
God.
we cut to a screen. We cut to Anise who's like taking notes, and there's a screen behind her, and I wasn't sure what it was, but in the picture you can clearly see the number 103, and above that it says MPH. So that's
Yep.
103 miles per hour on an elliptical, which again, that shit should have been sparking or smoking. Like that would have been hilarious if they added that.
Yeah.
And his heart rate was only 93 beats per minute, which is slightly
Ooh.
elevated, but like a brisk walk would
Yeah.
maybe get you up there.
I'll
And he
get
didn't
higher
even
than
break a
that
sweat.
on a brisk walk.
Yeah.
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 He didn't even break a sweat. He's like, I feel great. So Anise gives Jack that ball to squeeze again to see how strong he is. And he crushes it completely like a ball of tinfoil. And he's like, whoops, sorry. And like he hands the fucking crushed up ball back to her. Meanwhile, in Daniel's lab, he's getting really horny for books. And he's not wearing his glasses anymore.
He was so happy. No glasses.
He was rock hard for the fact that he could read that fast. He was so turned on by it. I'm telling you.
He was. Oh my God. Like that was his mission accomplished.
Yes.
Woo.
That was the part that I told you, Christina. I was like, I have this thing in here that's
he-
gonna really set you off.
Is that gonna make him officially labeled as a chronic comer?
Ooh,
Yeah,
good. Ooh.
Absolutely.
Got the
So would you
title.
guys like to read this between Daniel and Anise?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I mean, it's just the most unbelievable, incredible thing I've ever experienced. I mean, I've cross-referenced the symbols on the armband against every written language on Earth in an hour.
What did you find?
Well, nothing. But you see, the point is, I can read really fast.
Here are my notes on the Ataniques. I thought you might be interested.
You write in a notebook?
My host Freya enjoys the tactile sensation of handwriting.
And then he reads super fast and says, oh, the inscription says that with great power comes great responsibility.
And the
It's
ability to
Spider-Man.
affect great consequences.
You haven't speculated in here on why the Atanique became extinct.
No, my primary concern up until now was finding the armbands and then determining they worked.
So then we see a light that's illuminated on Daniel's armband, and Anise inputs data into her little iPad, and Daniel looks at the armband.
He's like, what does that mean?
So it like lit up and it was like blah blah blah. Like it didn't make a sound effect, but it should
It
have.
went from green to yellow.
Yeah. So
Went
yeah,
yellow.
he was super excited that he could read really fast.
Right, he was like, I can read really fast.
They're just like, what if, like, it's the oven reached the temperature? There's like a beep sound that
Oh, yeah.
happens.
They're done preheating. You can put the pizza in now. So, side note, I do love a good notebook. I agree. And I love that Anise lets Freya write in her notebook and not do it all on some technology. So, yeah, nice fresh notebook is very good.
Agreed.
Cut to the infirmary. Anise speculates that the illumination on the armband signifies it's reached its maximum potential. So they should be maxed out at their abilities now. They've reached maximum potential. And Frasier calls her out into the hallway with Hammond. So we have Frasier, Anise, and Hammond. However we want to split this up. I'll do Anise.
I'll do Frasier.
Okay, I'll take Hammy.
Cool.
They all have significantly raised body temperatures.
They are in no danger.
I disagree. Their symptoms are indicative of the presence of a virus.
You are correct. My biodata indicates that the armbands have released a virus into their systems.
Doesn't that concern you?
It must be how the technology accesses the human physiology. It took a different amount of time in each individual because each subject's unique reaction to the virus.
That's all speculation. Major Carter's blood work showed a dangerous amount of adrenaline in her system.
I object to the interference in my experiment.
I object to being kept in the dark about the condition of people whose health I am responsible for.
Are you suggesting I would risk their health?
Doctor, we're seeing some really interesting results. Are you saying that we should discontinue the experiment?
Until we know more about the physical effects of this virus, yes. I say we remove the armbands and we run more tests to make sure that these changes are not permanent or damaging.
General?
No, I'm sorry. If there's one thing I've learned in my time here is that there's nothing wrong with a little prudence when dealing with alien devices.
Bitch.
So fuck Anise, man.
Fuck off.
The fact that like they had to have this kind of come to Jesus moment where Frasier was like, hey, my tests indicate, and Anise is like, oh yeah, no, you're totally right. I just didn't feel the need to tell you that until right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like she is 100% lying and keeping her in the dark and not sharing the information. And it's bullshit. I would be pissed if I was Janet. And I would be pissed if I were
fuck
Hammond.
yeah.
So Hammond, Anise, and Frasier re-enter the infirmary and tell SG-1 they have to take the armbands off. And SG-1 are super bummed. They're like, what? No. Oh my God. I don't want to.
A bunch of fucking teenagers. I'm telling you, temper tantrums.
But Dad, I don't want to. Why is my curfew at 10?
It's all pouty.
But Janet is worried about the armbands and they're having like a narcotic-like effect on them. So Hammond insists and they begin to comply, but they realize they're unable to remove them. And Jack is like, I'm having trouble complying here because they're trying to remove them. So cut to Hammond's office with Frasier and Anise.
Mm-hmm.
Janet says they've tried everything short of amputation. And I think Hammond is like, we'll reserve that for a last-ditch effort. Like the fact that it's even on the table.
It is not the last time that
Mm-mm.
somebody on this show suggested amputation of a hand either.
Mm-mm.
I don't remember.
Let's not go there.
It's in season 9.
Okay,
yeah.
that's why.
We'll get there.
Boo.
In
Season
5
9.
years.
Yeah.
At this pace,
Maybe. I don't know.
roughly
Maybe 2
2
years.
years probably.
Yeah.
So-
Speed it up.
Cut to a gym that's on the base. Jack is benching like 500 pounds and Teal comes up to him and he's like, aren't you concerned? But Jack is completely unbothered. And he even wants to talk to Hammond about going on a mission. He's like, we can't let this go to waste. Like, let's put this to the test. And he goes up to a punching bag and starts punching it. And he just like punches straight through it. And he slowly pulls his hand out. And like Teal'ca's just staring at him. Cut to Sam's lab. She is typing on a laptop at superhuman speed when Janet enters. So would you guys like to read this bit of dialogue?
Yep.
Sure. I'll take Rager. What are you working on?
I'm working on a book on wormhole physics, but this damn computer isn't fast enough. When the buffer's full, I have to wait for it to catch up.
You know, we really could use your help.
You just don't get it, Janet. I don't want to take it off.
Okay, I realize they're making you feel really good.
Look, I have written a 1,000-page book in under 2 hours. This has been something I've been dying to do, but haven't had time.
Sam.
Janet.
So Janet leaves, realizing she's like, well, I can't get through to her on this.
Okay, so real quick, I love that Daniel again is just rock hard for the reading of the book, where Carter is like getting off on being able to make the book.
Yep.
So I just like that's not lost on me. He's
A 1,000-page book on wormhole physics. I don't know what the audience is for that, but
it's out there. Daniel in another timeline. She writes it, he reads it.
Yeah. I also like how like Sam doesn't really swear a lot. Like maybe in like combat or something, but like she's just like this damn computer. And I was like, okay, girl, damn.
She's getting
But
frustrated.
like, yeah. So
Mhm.
cut to Hammond's office. This is Hammond and O'Neill. Do you guys want to read? This is really funny.
Yeah, which one? Who do you want to be?
I'll be O'Neill. You did such a good job on Hammy last time.
Oh God, I gotta get back into it. Okay. Okay, it's gonna be rough
Just
on the first
practice
few.
by saying cauliflower like a
cauliflower,
couple times.
cauliflower. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Okay, here we go. All right, Hammy says, we'll get into it. Okay, absolutely not.
Oh, come on, General. Why do we put these things on in the first place?
We still aren't sure what the long-term effects will be.
We shouldn't be sitting around wasting this stuff. We ought to be out there kicking some Gould butt. I mean, look at this.
He kicks the concrete wall and takes a big chunk out of it. Hammond stares at the wall, shocked at what O'Neill has just done.
Sorry about that, General.
Colonel, I'm concerned that you aren't in full control of your new abilities.
Well, you may be right about that. But it's just so damn exciting, sir.
I'm sure it is.
And even if we're not in total control, shouldn't we be out there doing the damage instead of in your office?
I'm concerned for your well-being, Colonel.
And I appreciate it. And you're the boss. Whatever you say goes. I just want you to know that we're here for you, ready to go. Just say the word.
Thank you.
Seriously, say it. Say the word.
Dismissed.
We can be ready in 3 seconds.
Colonel.
2.
Colonel.
Heck, we're ready now.
Jack, please, just get the hell out of my office.
Yes, sir.
So, like, again, watching this as a kid, I was like, come on, let him go out there and do stuff. But here it's like, this is so inappropriate. He is crossing so many lines, like pestering. Say the word. Okay, the word is dismissed. Like, get away from me. And like Jack keeps going and going and going. And the fact that him kicking the wall was so funny. It just like crumbles.
I would be worried to live in that complex if the walls were like made of what that made it look like.
Oh my God. But this is where like poor Hammy is like literally like hurting kittens and children and just fuck. I can't.
So after this interaction, he walks out of the office, clearly frustrated. This is Jack. And he sees Siler walking up the stairs to the briefing room. And he's like, hey, Siler. And he kind of pats him on the chest. And Siler is just sent down the stairs, like over the edge.
Just boom, like break his back.
It's those little like spiral staircases. And he's like
metal
pushed over the edge and like tumbles down.
Hard metal. Ugh.
Yeah. So then I have a thought about that concept later in the episode too.
Okay.
But Jack is actually like, oh shit. And like Hammond runs out of the office, like looking at just what happened. And they're like, it was an accident. Oh shit. Cut to one of the VIP rooms, which is like kind of like furnished really nice. Like they're not imprisoned, but like it's a really cushy kind of like hotel room, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And SG-1 are kind of being sequestered there. We find out Siler has a broken arm and a concussion from being shoved down the stairs.
He
Daniel
got off
was-
light. He got off light.
He did.
Yeah.
I have a story at the end if we feel it's a good space for it. But yeah, he got off light.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So Daniel does admit, like, this is a little bit scary. And Sam is just like, yeah, but I feel like I'm going to starve to death. Like, I'm so hungry right now. And then Jack starts drooling over the thought of a steak. And then Sam suggests, like, the steakhouse in town. And with superhuman speed, they get dressed in their civilian clothes and they head out. Like, you see them running down the hallway and, like,
Mhm.
papers fly in their wake and shit. And, like, people don't really see them. They're, like, looking and like, what was that? Weird draft. So also, apparently men's pants in the year 2000 were all loose fit and baggy. There was no
yeah.
tapered or fitted
were.
pants.
No.
It looks like looking back, I was like, that looks bad. Like, I don't know. It
It's
just
like it's weird when they're in civvies because the rest of it like kind of looks more timeless, like the
Mhm.
military
Yeah.
uniform. But and then anytime they put on their actual civilian clothes, you're like, well, that is of that time. Like
Yeah.
Oh,
very
yeah.
much so.
I will say Sam's outfit in this episode was good, but in other episodes, they do her so dirty with her civvies. It does
Mhm.
not look like what she would
But it
wear.
was like the time though.
Yeah. It dates it. It really does date it.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So, cut to the bar, and the three of them are talking about how high the fence was that they apparently jumped, which leads me to think, did they just run to this bar and not even like get in their cars?
Oh yeah.
Like, well, the cars are just going to slow me down. Let's just run there.
Of course.
So, we have this scene. It's
Yes, we do.
a waitress, O'Neill, Daniel, and Carter.
And everyone, I'm relinquishing my Carter casting for this one piece of dialogue to Sarah because Sarah deserves the Carter line in
Thank
this
you.
piece of dialogue. I'm making
Okay,
it official.
So then which two would you like to pick? And I'll take the fourth.
I'll be
I think the
I'll be-
waitress and Daniel should be together.
yeah, waitress and Daniel
Oh.
should be together. So you
Okay.
be waitress and Daniel, I'll be O'Neill.
Okay, perfect. Okay, waitress says, what can I get you?
3 of the biggest steaks you got with everything. Rare.
You got it.
And a
You
baked
got it.
potato.
You got it.
And she starts she starts to walk off. Excuse me. That's for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna have 3 as well.
4?
4 is good.
Me too. And French fries with mine. Oh, and a diet soda. What? I like the taste better.
If you haven't noticed Sarah by now, like with the
Is-
sweatshirt and the
She's got a
can.
Diet Coke. She's ready.
I was ready for that one. I do like the taste better. First of all, what the fuck kind of ordering is this? This does not fly in the real world, and it makes me mad when I see this in television shows. You're like,
What?
give me the biggest steaks you've got. But that makes no sense. You can't just be like, give me that.
What
You
cut
have to
do
say,
you
like,
want?
yes, what cut do you want? Do you want the porterhouse? I don't know anything about meat.
That
but
waitress
like,
would have been like, "Well, we have this, and then we have this, and then we have this.
Mhm.
Which one of those do you want?" Like it would
but
have
she
been
was
this
just like, you
longer
got it.
exchange.
Yeah, like you got it. Like, what do you mean?
You know, she's like, let me go get them the most expensive
She's like,
one. They
I'm
weren't
giving them the
picky.
wagyu.
Yeah, they didn't.
Oh,
They
100%.
specify. So
Yeah.
That's what I would have done. I would be like, you got it. You didn't specify, so I'll get you the pricey one.
Yeah. Or like when people go and like, and this is in all television shows or movies where like, give me the best thing you've got on this menu. And it's like, what the fuck does that mean? I don't order like that. That's fake.
Oh, no, I know unfortunately too many people in my family that would order like that or like ask for that.
Yeah.
And they would like, yeah.
you,
Yeah.
it's so subjective. Like that you just can't.
But as someone who worked in retail, like it annoys me because it's like, okay, I need to ask questions now because you're being like trying to be bougie and fancy. And it's like, no, like, hold on, I gotta fix my headset.
No, you're good. But no, I also think it depends on the restaurant and experience you're in. Like some totally, but the others, it's like a welcomed conversation of like, oh yeah, here's like the best thing. So like some places, sure, you can ask it. Others, absolutely not. But
Or they're
yeah.
like, give me the best bottle of wine that you have. And it's like, okay, you're going off of like my opinion. Like, what do you look
And like
a red wine, a white wine? Like,
well, like, what are you having for dinner? Like, we need to think about what it pairs with. Like, you can't just be like, here you go. Like, it might taste like shit with what you're eating. So
Yeah. What's the rule? Like white wine is for seafood, red wine is for
Yep.
not seafood.
And I worked at a fancy Italian restaurant like for 6 months while I was in EMT school, and people would do that shit and they'd be like, "What do you suggest?" And you'll be like, "Well, since you're having like the fish or chicken, like I would suggest this white wine." And they'll be like, "I'll have the Merlot." And it's like,
And
"Well,
you're
then
like-
why'd you even ask me?" Like,
because
The
they just
only
want to
reason-
sound intelligent. They want to sound like
Right.
they care.
The only reason I know that is because of the movie, the Disney movie, Atlantis, The Lost Empire, where they're kind of, I don't know if you guys have seen this movie. It's very Stargate coded if you
Oh
haven't.
God, yeah.
But they're
Yeah.
showing like the drawing of the Leviathan and the explosion guy. He's like, I would pair this with a white wine. Like he's talking about how he would eat the like the giant lobster monster. So that's the only reason I know seafood is paired with white wine.
I love that.
So anyway, don't order food like that if you go out. Just order normally. Don't be weird.
Yeah.
So all three of them are contemplating that they now realize they are defying direct orders from Hammond, but they're like, nobody's gonna even notice that we're gone. Like we're just so fast. Like they're not even gonna know. Cut to after dinner.
when they
Sam's-
clearly decided to not go fast with this at all. And
No, because apparently they're in a pause time. Apparently they left and like time paused, and then they're existing, and it's going to be 5 minutes when they get back.
make a quick $200 off of this pool guy. Like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Or they just think like nobody saw us leave, so they're just gonna think like we're chilling in our fancy hotel room on the base.
Mhm.
Because at this point, like they're not really being on lockdown. They're just like told.
No, they snuck out.
Chill out. Yeah,
They snuck out.
they snuck out after curfew.
Just like teenagers. Anyway, the scene
So
continues.
Sam sinks this wild pool shot, wins the game, and she like takes her winnings from the man that she lost against. And fun fact, I'll put it in here now. Amanda Tapping actually made that shot, like 100%. Like that was all her.
Nice. I'll throw a wah into your statement there, though.
What?
It was set up perfectly.
Okay, I would have fucked it up though, so it doesn't matter how perfect it was. I still think it's impressive.
As a pool player, it was set up pretty perfectly. Like you could almost not make it. Like
I would find a way to fuck it up.
It was too perfect to believe that, like, for me to believe that like that's how it like landed. Yeah, that's just me though. Sorry everybody.
Oh,
so I mean, she still did it. Good for her.
Did it? Yeah. No, it's no shame on like Amanda at all. It's just like, yeah, it was a setup shot.
So there's this like bit of dialogue. We don't have to read through it, but like the guy that lost was kind of pissed off, and Sam's like, "Want to go?"
Part, yeah.
Oh, but I
nothing?
love this.
Do you want to read it? I'll be the
let's
opponent.
read it. Let's read it.
You be the opponent. I'll be Carter and O'Neill. So you can be Daniel, Christina.
Okay, that's fine.
So this guy says, "How the hell did you do that?"
Want to go double or nothing?
No, I think I'll cut my losses.
Smart move.
What are you laughing at, geek?
Geek?
I love that Daniel has this like out of nowhere bravado. Like, do you fucking talk to me? The way he turns around and he's like,
Not
O'Neill's
this
saying
time.
geek. He's like, I am gonna kick ass today because I don't ever get to do it. And then like the nod to Jack because they all look at each other. And do you put it in here? What Jack says?
Yeah.
He says something about this is.
Yeah, it's further down in the notes. Yeah.
Is it?
It's like 2 sentences down. Yeah.
Oh, how he says like, well, this is a cliche because they're surrounded by all these goons.
Yeah.
It is very cliche.
I like that, like, with all the like early 2000s, late 90s stereotyping going on in Stargate. The one time we see some dude call Daniel a geek is the time when he doesn't have his glasses on, which is like,
exactly. But
He
like nothing like a geek, nothing like about him indicates that he is a geek. First of all, are we in fucking middle school?
What?
Like,
yeah, again, the teenager thing. Because what fucking adult is like, "Oh, whatever, geek." It's not
a drunk one at a pool table.
I mean, fair, but I do appreciate Daniel's like somehow confidence coming through in his alter ego now that his glasses are gone and he can whoop some ass.
He's like, I can read books really fast and I don't have to wear my glasses. But like,
Let's
listen,
do it.
objectively speaking, there is no way that he could be clocked as a geek in this setting. He is objectively one of the most attractive dudes at that bar. Like, he's not wearing like a fucking Urkel outfit with the high waiters and a pocket protector. Like, nothing about him indicates that he's a geek. So I just don't. That came out of nowhere.
Unless he was hanging out there for a while Sam was like kicking this guy's ass at pool, and he's like talking
And
to
like
Jack
talking
about
shit.
something he read in the book or something. Like,
Yeah.
maybe we didn't see it, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
all I can figure.
So they're surrounded by this group of thugs, and Jack is like, "Well, this is cliche," and they kind of like all agree. They're like, "All right, I guess we're doing this." Cut to the bar exterior where we just hear like the thugs getting their asses kicked. Like, we don't see anything go down.
No.
So back in Hammond's office, we have the dialogue between Hammond and Frasier. So do you guys want to read this?
Yeah.
Sure. Am I staying hammy?
Okay. Yeah.
Oh God, I gotta say cauliflower. All right. I thought the devices were supposed to enhance them physically, not make them stupid.
You'd have to ask Anise about that, sir. All I can tell you is that their erratic behavior could be explained by an increase of various hormone levels. You could almost describe it as a sort of intoxication.
My concern is how do we contain them if they are not strong and if they are that strong and that fast?
The concern is greater than that, sir. Blood tests show early indication of multiple organ failure. The human body wasn't meant to be put through this.
Are you saying they'll die if we don't get these things off them?
I believe that the key is the virus the armbands use as an intermediary. There's no magic pill that'll combat a virus, but there are a few treatments we could try.
But that's no guarantee.
No, sir.
So this is all in Hammond's office, and then through his glass map, his fancy glass map,
I love
we
that
see
glass
the
map.
guilty parties enter. They're escorted in by like random airmen, and Hammond enters. He's like about to rake them over the coals. So we have some dialogue. It's Hammond, Carter, O'Neill.
Yeah,
I'll take my
and,
Carter back.
One
I'll take-
Daniel,
I'll do Hammy Daniel.
and I'll do O'Neill.
There we
All
go.
right. All right. Can you explain to me why several witnesses put you people at a restaurant in town last night?
We were very hungry, sir.
The report says there was a brawl.
More of a scuffle, sir.
You're lucky you didn't kill any of those men.
No, we were very careful about that, General.
What am I supposed to do with you people?
General, I can't tell you how sorry we are. But Carter wanted a steak.
Actually, it was your idea. Keep going.
My point is, General,
Sir.
the fact that we were defying orders didn't even cross our minds until we were actually defying them.
And Daniel's like, it's like the armbands are having an effect on our ability to make rational choices.
This is the scene. This is the scene where I was like, this scene would not have happened if they did not know exactly where they were going. With
The
that
way
that look she gives him.
she was so mad, and the way she had to tack that sir onto the end, like she wasn't gonna do it, but then she remembered herself for like half a second and then tacked it on.
Yep,
It
it's
was
that
so
pause
fucking
in
funny.
between. Like, sir.
And he threw her under the bus. It was so deserved that like her reaction was justified.
Yep. I love it. I love this so much.
So enter Anise. Meanwhile, all of SG-1 are still there. All of SG-1 minus Teal'c, unfortunately. They're all there, like still like standing there like they've been
Teal'c's sitting
caught.
back eating popcorn, just watching this disaster unfold in front of them.
Yeah. So enter Anise. She just received a message from the Tok'ra High Council, and they have a proposal for using SG-1 superpowers. They just received some new information regarding a new class of battleship that Apophis is building. Their internal attempts at sabotage have already failed, but a special covert team could possibly infiltrate. And this is not Hammy's first rodeo, and he knows he's being manipulated, and he's pissed. And Anise / Freya, they try to say that it was not their intention, but in the interest of the human Tok'ra alliance, blah, blah, blah. And Hammond again calls her out. And he's like, you don't give a shit about my people or how the armbands are messing with them, you selfish jerks. Like, even
their stare down was so fucking good. Like, he's like, bitch.
Even if Anise is innocent in all of this, which I don't think she is, behind the scenes, the Toker were planning that the whole time. That was their intention of sending her there. And then they sent her, oh, by the way, look at this. If she didn't know, like, even if she didn't know, which I still don't fully believe, I think she was in on it the whole time. They were definitely pulling some fuck shit.
Yeah.
So Anise explains that she conveniently uploaded all of their intel into the base computers, and she hopes that he'll review it and change his mind. Jack does try to interject, but Hammond is so done with everyone's shit. He's pissed off at SG-1. He's pissed off at Anise because he's being worked over by her. Like, he's just pissed all around. And he orders them to be taken back to the VIP room and locked in.
Again, grounded like children.
Yes.
Grounded.
So, of course,
Lock ain't
right
gonna
away.
work. Lock ain't gonna work.
No. So, of course, right away, as soon as they get into the room, they begin to look at the ship plans. And Hammond is also looking over them with Teal'c. And Teal'c confirms, he's like, this is fucking bad. And Teal'c volunteers to go alone, but Hammond can't justify it. He's like, I can't send you on a suicide mission. The gate is heavily guarded. Like,
I love Teal'c so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Hammy says that, and he just gives him. He tells him, if you can come back with a plan that isn't like guaranteed suicide, then I'll listen to it. And he bows, like it's the respect toward Hammond.
Yeah,
I love because
So
he's
good.
like, because at first he's like, I guess I'll go alone. And he's like,
Yep. Yeah.
no,
No, that's not how we roll, Teal'c.
no.
So we have some dialogue between Carter, Daniel, and O'Neill, so we can all just take our parts.
Perfect.
The gate will be heavily guarded, but we should be able to handle them. Wormhole physics dictate that you exit at the same velocity that you enter.
Daniel's eating, so they'll never know what hit him.
Exactly. The facility, however, will be more of a challenge.
Can't we just zip in, plant C4, and zip out?
Won't do it, sir. The power core of the ship is completely sealed in trinium. That's what we have to take out. Now, hang on. She's like looking at the schematics as she's talking. The power core is linked directly to some kind of liquid cooling system that's based in the facility. These pipes here lead into it.
So we zip in, blow the pipes, and zip out.
The core will overheat and explode. The only problem is there are force shields protecting this restricted area.
So,
I see your point. O'Neill's just like,
fuck?
Goa'uld force shields operate on a frequency oscillation principle. If we were moving fast enough, theoretically, we should be able to see the oscillation interval and run right through.
We'll need snacks.
all the snacks.
So cut to the control room. They drug everyone. They needle inject them into the, I was like, they're committing crimes. This is the crime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Crimes.
Like numerous crimes.
But I was just like, oh my
Drugging the
god.
people. Okay.
They dial out. Sam's like fast typing. She like seals all the blast doors so no one can get to them.
They're in their all black, but also the t-shirts, and that's how you know they're serious.
Yes.
Very serious. All black.
Not nary a weapon to be found.
No, because their brute strength and speed will get them through.
And the snacks.
I guess the C4s in the cargo pockets, like
maybe,
sure.
Yeah. Just stuff their pockets full.
Mm-hmm.
So Teal'c was able to kind of get through, and he like sees them before they leave, and Jack tells him, he's like, sorry, buddy, not this time. And they run through the gate.
That made me so sad again. Just like, sorry, like a little brother. You gotta stick behind.
Yeah, not this time, pal. So on the planet, the gate is heavily guarded, and the Jaffa are waiting for them because the gate's open. But SG-1 blow through, knock them all out easily, and proceed to run up the mountain into the facility. They see 2 Jaffa, so they're in the facility now, carrying bricks of Naquadah. It's a huge amount. Sam is like, do you know how much this shit could power? Like, this is a huge amount. And they're even like, it takes 2 guys to carry that? But it's super dense. And it's legit just like
grade Naquadah, yeah.
Yeah, and it's legit just like 2 bricks on this like gurney looking thing that they're carrying. So Daniel agrees to split off and to get the Naquadah. Sam and Jack continue on, and Sam notices she's like, "Is it hot in here?" Like she takes her hat off. She's like, "I'm like, uh-oh, something's going on."
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
they set the time for 5 minutes. If the cooling system goes down, then it will take 10 minutes for the power core to go critical. That gives them 15 minutes total to get out of to the gate. So 5 minutes for the timer. After that, they have 10 minutes before everything blows. Cut to Daniel. We see that he has the Naquita, but he's struggling. Like he has it in his backpack. He's like, you can tell he's huffing and puffing. And
Mhm.
Sam and Jack meet up with him, and he falls over, and the armband falls off, and he passes out.
Okay, I have one question here. Why does Daniel's fall off first when he didn't get it first?
It's always my question too.
Unless he exerted himself more because he was carrying all that Naquita
He's
at the
reading
end.
all those books.
He's using it.
Sarah.
I think
Sarah,
it just has to do with how their body is metabolizing it and how their immune system deals with the virus. Everyone's body is different because they fall
Fair.
off in reverse order. It's
They do.
Oh, that's a good point. Okay.
so I think that it's just dependent on their physiology. But I think the writers were like, how can we make the most drama? That's how we'll.
We have to drive the plot, so
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's like what I thought
Smart.
because
No, that makes
they
sense.
mentioned how it's
yeah,
their
if it's all
bodies
based
and-
off metabolism and immune systems, we do know that both of those are very varied amongst
Mhm.
everybody, like all
Yeah.
all people. So yeah.
Yeah. So cut back to the SGC. We have Hammond, Anise, and Fraser. So I will do the Anise.
Frasier.
I'll stick with Hammy. Okay. Cauliflower.
Cauliflower.
Cauliflower. Just kidding. The armbands are going to come off on their own.
The last bits of data transmitted from their biosensors before they step through the Stargate indicate traces of an antibody.
To the virus that allowed the devices to enhance their speed and strength.
I'm afraid we've solved the mystery of the Atanique's extinction.
How so?
The armbands only work for a limited time, sir.
Once the immunity spread among the Atanique's warriors, the armbands would be useless. I guess they never solved the problem.
Which means SG-1 is likely out there on a planet full of heavily armed Fa with an advantage that is likely to disappear at any time.
Yes, sir.
And then this is Freya. General, for what it's worth, Anise and I are sorry. We were not aware of the mission prior to our arrival here. And then Anise takes control back. I do hope SG-1 returns safely. Liars. I don't believe you for a minute.
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
Anise is like, come on, Freya girl, lay down thick. Like, you're nicer than me. And they'll believe you more.
Tap in here. Like, we gotta tag in here. We gotta convince him.
But like, she was so short-sighted when it came to this experiment because she was so gung-ho about getting the armbands on them. She didn't care to figure out what happened first. To be like, oh, now we so conveniently figured out the reason for their extinction. Because this. But I guess they wouldn't be able to figure out until they had test subjects.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's just pointing out, and it's the same in 2 episodes from now too. The fact that Anise is a scientist that's not afraid to put test subjects at risk way before scientists that we know, like, that we trust, you would. So
yeah. So cut back to the planet. 2 Jaffa approach Sam and Jack and the unconscious Daniel. They shoot towards them, and we get this really cool shot of Sam and Jack like dodging this.
that's the Matrix moment. Yep.
Yeah, it was super cool. And we see the 2 Jaffa get taken down with a Zat. And again, I was like, did they bring a Zat? Like, where did that I don't think. Nope, it's Teal'c. Teal'c has come to save the day. Thank you, Teal'c. He comes out of the shadows all like you see it like from the
Smug.
floor up, the pan up. You see his boots first and they do the reveal. And he even says, it seems my assistance is required after all. So again, this is where I realized I was like, they didn't even bring any weapons. They're legit out there with t-shirts, their cargo pants, and pockets full of C4. That's it.
It's that drugged up confidence.
And snacks.
Snacks.
Yeah.
All
Some
the snacks.
Doritos.
Dorito-
Granola
Cool Ranch.
bars. Like completely unprepared.
Mhm.
They might as well. They don't even have like a nice jacket. They're in their they're that version of free balling. They're
Yep.
basically in their underwear.
Yep.
So Teal'c and Daniel split from the group and they head towards the exit because Teal'c is like helping Daniel. Sam and Jack continue to fuck shit up and take out like there's like 6 Jaffa like information coming down the hallway, which is I think that's what the point was because they already planted the C4. They didn't have to do anything else. They're like, let's like take out as many guards as we can and we'll meet you at the entrance. So they're running through these force fields until we see Sam run into it and not get through. She falls on the floor, her armband falls off. Jack notices, turns around and tries to run back through the force shield to be on the same side as her, but conveniently that's when his shit stops working and he runs into the force shield, he falls down, his armband pops off, he passes out. So Teal'c and Daniel get to the exit and they realize that they're not, like Sam and Jack are not there, and they try to turn back, but now there's a force field blocking their entry, which I wonder, was that there before or did they put it up when they realized that like there's intruders in the base?
I think it was an alert thing. Yeah.
Okay. Cut back to Sam and Jack. Sam wakes up and calls out to Jack. He wakes up. He realizes the situation. And he was like, should have brought more snacks. And Sam was like, I don't think that would have helped.
No.
So I put this in here to give us some perspective. The C4 timer has 1 minute and 56 seconds on. All of this goes down in less than 2 minutes. So when remember in a future episode, 2 minutes. This is very intense. Sam tells Jack he has to get out of there. And he's like, so do you. And he begins beating on the electrical panel to the force shield. The little buttons on the side. Back at the exit, Teal'c and Daniel decide to wait it out. Daniel points out there's no way to help them. And in 10 minutes after the C4 explodes, the whole mountain is going to explode. So Daniel seemed kind of scared. He was like, I just want to make sure like we're making an informed decision here.
Yeah. So we're making a completely informed decision because he's like, there's nothing we can do.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Like, sure. Teal'c's just like, I'm gonna stay here.
Teal'c wasn't gonna leave.
So cut back to Jack. He is still trying to break into the electric panel. I think he's also like beating on the force shield too. And is he using a staff weapon?
Not really in this episode.
Point? Okay.
Yeah.
He has a staff weapon though.
He has something that he pulled off the wall.
Yeah.
That he was trying to break open the thing. But he's not doing the full beating on the force field.
That's not this way, yeah.
In a very extended way at this point.
Okay. So Sam is telling him, like, you have to get out of here. There is no time. And there's some Jaffa approaching on Sam's side of the force shield. Right as they're cornered and like the weapons are drawn, some shit's about to go down. But right as they're cornered, the C4 explodes and they all fall down. And we see the force shields fall down too. And
that, ladies and gentlemen, is a Deus Ex Machina. Yeah. Perfect timing.
Yeah. Yeah. And Sam tries to get the Nakoda, but Jack orders her to leave it behind and they make a break for it. So what we find out, and I'll just explain it now, when the C4 took out when it exploded and took out the cooling system.
Took out the cooling system, so it's going to take time for the whole thing to explode. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. But it also, they can kind of assume that it took out the generators that powered the force shields, which is why the force shield powered down.
Right.
So why does that? Hold on. Anyway.
Teresa?
I don't know why it keeps.
There's like 3 different Teresas in these notes. Your phone really likes Teresa.
There was somebody I used to work with that was named Teresa, and that might be why. I must have been talking a lot of shit. I don't know. Anyway,
Teresa. Sorry, Teresa. Oh, damn you.
So the team reunite, and they're like, right as the shield goes down, Teal'c and Daniel like immediately start to run back in, but Sam and Jack are already like coming out. And they have to make a break for the gate. Watching them run through the terrain in their normal selves is kind of like pathetic and sad because
they're worse than their normal selves though, because they're all like wiped. They're running like I do, everyone. So
well, like Sam is like, like Dragon. They got
Yeah.
there though.
Yeah, they probably feel terrible,
Mhm.
especially about like the adrenaline pumping for like what just happened, and then
Mhm.
like their like recovery is gonna
Yeah,
be
their organs are not great right now, like
rhabdomyolysis.
they could be in rhabdo, who knows?
Yeah.
Mm.
So there are Jaffa on their trail. Teal'c takes them out with his one singular Zat that nobody else thought to bring. Thank God for Teal'c. Oh my God. The Jaffa are at the gate. They're still unconscious except for one random guy right at the DHD that Teal'c just
Why is it so funny?
It is. But also, like, why wouldn't Teal'c bring more weapons for them? He knew they didn't bring any.
he had to travel light. I don't know.
Oh, I guess. Okay.
But
I
they
mean,
are
there is some logic, at least on Teal'c's part, to being like, I don't know if they should have weapons on them right now.
That's
Mm.
fair.
Like
That's
they're
fair.
not really making the best decisions. I could see from Teal'c's point of view, he was probably feeling that way.
Yeah.
That one
I'll
guy
give you
next
that.
to the DHD. Oh my god. It's because it's all done in a wide shot, right? So like it never goes up close and it's just Teal'c running to the DHD and this one guy starts moving and he's just like bang and like keeps going. Whack whack.
I also thought, I was like, oh, I bet his like emergency DHD dialing is kicking in, where like they have a course on the base where it's like explosions are going off and all this sound, and it's like have to dial out fast, press all the buttons because you're under pressure.
Yes.
It's like one of those training courses,
Yep.
the dial home training course.
Get that muscle
Mhm.
memory in so you don't
Yeah.
have to worry about
Mhm.
anything else.
So Teal'c dials out just as the mountain explodes. And the whole place, like even up to the Stargate, it's gonna blow. Like it's a lot. And
That was a big ship.
yeah,
it was.
and that poor I'm glad that Teal'c just shot that guy again because at least he's not awake to be like boiled alive by the explosion.
God.
Oh,
Give him a peaceful,
a peaceful departure. Yes.
Yeah. Because
Oh.
there's other people starting to wake up too. You can see them like as the explosion goes off, like kind of starting to wake up.
How horrible you wake up and you're like, oh God, I should have
Yeah.
just stayed down.
So back on Earth, we see them fly out of the gate, and this is where the metal comes back into play. Can we get some padding on that ramp, please? Because I bet that like that could cut your shit up because it's that metal grate. So like
Mhm.
that could easily tear your skin open if you hit it hard enough.
And they
And-
do frequently.
Oh God.
Yeah. Like in Solitudes, when Daniel is like, I flew out of the gate so fast I don't even remember hitting the ramp. Which is like he must have hit hard.
Or what is it? It's like 2001 where Sam like has to fall through the gate and like
Mhm.
almost like
yeah.
the entire ramp almost misses the whole ramp.
Horizontal because the gate was horizontal.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
God.
was, yeah.
No, thank you.
It looks like you're diving into a pool, but you're not.
You're not. God.
Oh, that's a good episode.
It
Anyway,
is. Okay.
Hammond runs up to them, and we have this last bit of dialogue. There's a lot of people because we have like basically all of SG-1, Hammond, and Anise. So I'll take O'Neill.
All right.
I'll be Teal'c.
Can I do O'Neill and Teal'c because I can't do
Okay,
O'Neill
yeah.
and Anise.
I'll be Carter and Anise then.
Okay, and then I'll be Hammy Daniel.
Mhm.
So O'Neill, from his position where he was just flung out of the Stargate, he's like, just remember, I retired. You wanted me back.
What happened?
The damn armbands fell off. That's what happened.
I am sorry.
Were you successful in destroying the ship?
Indeed, we were, General Hammond.
Good. Report to the infirmary.
General, sir, about the obviously impending court-martial, sir.
You were all under the influence of an alien technology, Colonel. That's a pretty solid defense.
Even so, I'm sorry.
Me too.
Me 3.
And they all look at Teal, and he's like, I
The
have
eyebrow.
no reason to apologize. And he's like, Teal'c out, and he like walks down the ramp.
He does.
Teal'c was actually. Oh my God. Talk. Cauliflower. Teal was actually, I'm just gonna get through it. Teal was actually following orders.
Of course he was.
Oh, I get to do a Nisa and Carter together. That's funny.
Oh,
Mhm.
You left the armbands behind? We had other things on our minds. Understandable. Colonel. And then Freya takes over. Anise and I both hope we can work together again in the future.
both of you? Can't wait for that. And he walks off, leaving Anise alone on the embarkation ramp. She'll be back.
She's just looking up at the Stargate. Like,
She'll be back. She was more worried about those armbands that they didn't get to bring back with them.
we had other things on our minds.
Just a little bit.
Like the impending sexual tension between us. You know?
I mean, this is true. All right. Whew.
Ready to do a comments check?
Yes.
Comments.
Oh my God, there's so many.
There's 15 people watching us right now. It's awesome.
I know,
love
and
you guys.
they hit the comments hard. Teresa's like the unofficial fourth member, 3 fries short at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she
Oh
is.
gosh.
I forgot I can't star things.
Yeah, I should have starred things as I was going. But wait. Nell saying, watching as a kid, ugh, Frasier is such a buzzkill. Boo. And then watching now, this Anise person is manipulative as fuck.
Right?
That's called growth.
I'm right there with you, Nell, because I was thinking the same thing.
There was a lot of daddy hammy going on.
Daddy Hammy.
Yep. Where is it? Oh, yeah, the with great power comes great responsibility.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Apparently, in the Spider-Man, it's based on a couple of other things, but it isn't worded that exact same way, except in Spider-Man. Like that's anyway. Yeah. Let's see.
Nels, you don't understand, Mom. It's not a phase. Oh God.
Yeah.
God, this is good. Okay, we need to do. We'll do better about
wait. Where is it? Wait, there. I'm sorry, Nell. You're killing it this time because Nell, Arm Device turned Daniel's paperback book into a hardback.
Oh wait, and then hold on. Let me. To be fair to Daniel, he was more rock hard for being able to, for once, finish the language analysis on alien language before leaving the hallway. A halfway mark of the episode. I mean, rock hard for being able to finish for once. I can't. I know that's not what you're trying to say, but that's how I initially read it based on that commentary. Sorry. Oh.
Hammy, like, God damn it, I just had that wall painted. Oh God.
Man, this is good. I love having everyone hang out with us. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll keep
really
scrolling
great
through.
Thank you.
I love it.
It's been a good time.
Oh, they need some swim floaties for padding. Yes, Mara, I like that. For when they're coming back through.
They need to add that to the DHD drill. All right, dial out and put your floaties on.
Everybody ready?
That's amazing. All right. We got lots of themes and discussions in here.
Yeah. I'm just like kind of scrolling through.
Yeah. Do.
Someone said Daniel was explaining the physics of Sam's pool game, and that's why the guy called him a geek.
Yeah,
possibly.
Yep.
Oh, that tracks.
Nell says, in keeping with the family dynamics, Teal'ca's the eldest sibling trying to help mom and dad parent the kids. That's a good one.
Yep, for sure.
And Scott added to that, and sitting to the side as the responsible older sibling watching the younger one shenanigans and getting in trouble.
John, if you wanted weapons, you should have brought it yourself. I'm not stopping to buy you new ones.
Don't make me pull this car over.
Oh man.
Yeah, Teal basically was the babysitter.
Yep.
And then Mara did say it's like they're hungover, which I can totally see that analogy of like, yeah. I bet the recovery from this was brutal. Imagine the worst like leg day at the gym ever, and
Oh,
like
Yeah, they're
God,
gonna
no.
have to need banana bags after that.
Oh,
having to
no.
like trying to sit down on the toilet. That's the worst after squats,
No.
man.
That's terrible.
Literally rhabdo. Like it
Yeah.
could because like all of the stuff that they can do, they still have their human muscles, you know,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
are being worked to the max. Like if that elliptical is being worked to the max, then their muscles are too. And you can end up in a bad position if you're not careful. Don't work out too much, kids.
Yeah.
Have a balance. Have a balance. All right.
So, themes and discussions. So again, a lot of this is from the DVD commentary, which is it offers like a lot of cool insight. So the punching bag was real. It was a real punching bag that Jack hit, and they scored it at a place where he was going to hit it. So that's why it looked like so convincing that his hand just went through it. The bench pressing, it was a rubber bar, but the sound effects made it seem heavy. The Foley artist was really doing their job.
Yep.
They did the outside O'Malley shot because they didn't want to trash the real restaurant. And
That makes sense.
I appreciate that. If you know you're not going to go like all out on a shot, like either a special effects shot or a fight or like anything like that, as a filmmaker, I like doing this too. Then like don't show it, imply it in other ways, because then our brains fill in like what just happened.
Yeah.
Anyway.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it didn't detract at all. I thought it was kind of even funnier that like we just cut to the outside and just hear all the noise. Like
Yep.
that was because we know what's happening.
Yep.
And that works in like horror movies too. Like what you don't see is scarier.
Yes, 100%.
But it also like makes me want to have discussion about what everyone imagines when they hear that. Not now, but just like it puts into that, like, what do you default to? What's the role play in your head? Like, who's doing what there?
It's the scene in the Winchester in Shaun of the Dead for me, with the pool cues and everything. It's the Winchester, right? I think it's called the Winchester. I can't remember. Whatever the bar he keeps talking about wanting to go to.
Oh,
So
Somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. So
they will.
I've never seen that movie, so it just went straight over my head. So
That's okay.
Queen's "Don't Stop Me Now" is playing in the background. It's great.
So RDA hitting the force field was done with cellophane. So they had something to hit rather than just pretending. And you can see his nose squish into it. The idea was just a joke, but then it worked. So I
That's
imagine
really cool because then you can overlay the like
Yeah.
yeah.
So I imagine like have you seen the pranks where people like put cellophane in like the hallway and then like they call someone out, they're like, help me. And like the person comes tear-assing down the hallway and just like run into the cellophane. Like that's what I imagine. They just had like saran wrap like across the hallway or whatever, and that's what they run into. So that's what oh, go ahead.
I was just thinking, can you look at Mara's comment right now? I picture Daniel doing Egyptian version of Kung Fu and Nell says and explaining the history of it as he's doing
like
it.
as he's fighting.
I'm sorry.
Who's the geek now, bitch?
Oh gosh. Sorry,
So-
that was too funny. Sorry, continue.
This is why I brought up Jack beating on the force shield. Because this was in the DVD commentary. They said when Jack wails on the force shield, it's plexiglass, not cellophane. So he can really actually hit something and it's more convincing.
Yeah, but in this one, he's hitting it, but he's not wailing until Divide and Conquer. Like I mean, clearly, why would you set that? Why would you do that now? And then you'd have nowhere to go to like ramp it up later anyway. But in this one, it's more like I'm banging on it because I'm trying to figure out if I can like get through it some way. And then coming up, spoiler alert for a 20-year-old TV show, like that one,
It's
like in that
desperate.
episode, it's like really emotional looking, you know? So yeah.
It's so fucking good. I can't wait. Anyway.
Yeah.
In the DVD commentary, again, Martin Wood points out how the actors made specific choices to kind of show their descent into the influence of the armband. Do we have a comment that we need to read before?
Yes.
What are you laughing at?
John just added to the Egyptian Kung Fu crouching scarab hidden obelisk.
Anyway, In the DVD commentary, Martin Wood is pointing out like the specific choices the actors made to show that like they were under the influence. And he explained that Amanda Tapping purposely let her hair stay messy and unkempt. Sam had superhuman abilities. She could see perfectly in pitch black lab. She could read and write incredibly fast, and she wrote a 1,000-page book. Who cares about washing and brushing your hair when you have superpowers? And I thought that was so fun, so cool. I love that choice was made because it makes sense. Robert Cooper, again, this is from the DVD commentary. Robert Cooper, not only a terrific writer, but he's a great idea man. We'll be in a room discussing a story and he'll come up with all sorts of cool angles. He is also one of the funniest writers I've seen. Before he got his hands on upgrades, it was not funny in the least. And that was Joe Malozzi saying that.
That's also true of Window of Opportunity coming up, which we did the whole Stargate Legacy on the companion with the two of them and Brad, and like that was the whole like that one was super serious as well at first. So
could you imagine if like these episodes weren't funny though?
I
Do you
know.
think it would be as memorable?
No,
I don't think I'd be as into the show like 100%.
Because I feel like when we talk about it, we're like, we like a show that can make fun of itself. We like it that it doesn't take itself too serious. So yeah, without that, I would not nearly enjoy it.
And it's able to have these amazing funny moments and sometimes also like amazingly dramatic moments in the same episode.
Yeah.
They're able to switch so well.
And we're gonna see that happen in like 2 episodes. When they look back on this episode that was quite funny, and they take like one of the most dramatic moments from it and they ramp it up to like 11. So I'm glad that they turned it funny. And I still am curious to see what it would have been like had it not kind of had that humor.
I wonder if originally more of what happens in 2 episodes was meant to happen in this episode.
Yeah, and the scenes that they cut.
And they reworked it for another episode so that it did go a more comedic route this time. I don't know.
But even then, even though they cut it, again, I was like, what the fuck? What's going on? That something's happening.
Oh yeah.
I'm clocking that shit. So again, we have this article from the companion. It's called Stargate Upgrades Shows Us the Real SG-1 by Timothy Weir. And the Stargate SG-1 episode Upgrades turns our heroes into superheroes, but their supercharged flaws and appetites reveal the real SG-1. So it's a quite long article. I highly recommend it. They even talk about like Janet and Teal'c. So even people that are not and Hammond and like people who are not affected by the armbands, we see their true characters come out. Their personalities change dramatically, becoming irrational, impulsive, driven. Jack becomes a literal human wrecking ball. Daniel instigates bar fights, and Sam takes her workaholism to the next level. Not only that, but the trio completely casts Teal'c aside. You know, the guy who's basically risked his life for them more times than they can count. The desire to use these advanced technologies to fight back against the Goa'uld is a good one, but O'Neill, Carter, and Daniel quickly become willing to sacrifice themselves, their bodies, and their values in order to get there. Even noble ends can be pursued through less than noble means, and often to the detriment of those involved. Lord Acton famously wrote, "Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely." Upgrades puts this principle into action, showing that it is impossible to wield power without a negative effect on the person wielding it. So, yeah. That's all I have. What else is there anything else that you guys want to bring to the table about this episode?
I feel like I brought mine throughout the episode to talk it through. So no, I think that's a really interesting way to kind of end it, because truly with full power, there is no way to do that without depleting and injuring the person wielding it. And that is this whole like idea of you can't have something without it taking from somewhere else.
Yeah. And in this case, like it's their physical bodies that are under the duress. Like how Janet, I felt so bad for Janet because Anise was truly like keeping her in the dark. Like fuck that lady. She was shady from the start, and I know it's never revealed if she was in on it the whole time, but I think she was. And I will never not think that. Like, it just was all too convenient, and Hammond clocked that perfectly. He knew he was being manipulated. And Hammond
yeah.
and Fraser are like the real heroes, and Teal'c. Hammond, Fraser, and Teal'c are the real heroes of this episode.
Yep.
But yeah,
Agreed.
the idea that like power and responsibility takes a toll on people, whether if it corrupts them and turns them into like a shitty person, or it takes a toll mentally, like the mental toll it takes to be in power and to have responsibility and how stressful it can be.
Mhm.
Or even like a physical toll of being in charge and being that leader that has to be on the front lines, taking charge. You put yourself in harm's way along with people. So yeah, it can come in many forms, but that's why it's like I don't want to be in charge. That's
Yeah.
No, being in charge is scary.
I will do whatever you tell me to do.
It's scary. I don't want to make decisions.
Correct.
No.
But yeah, that was Upgrade. A fantastic
fantastic.
episode. 10 out of 10.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. All right. So next time is Crossroads, which I will definitely have to watch before I can speak too much to it.
Yeah.
I do remember the general plot, and that's about it. So,
and that will not be a week from now. So just as a heads up, we will have to have a delay. We'll be a little bit bumped out. So
yeah,
delay. So
personal stuff popping up
with the personals, but not too far delayed. I just need to be coherent enough. We don't
want to recreate Upgrades here with Christina. So
no, I don't. I have surgery in a week, so I need to make sure I am off the meds before I enter into this discussion.
This is the second time we've done this with you.
You know, we've been podcasting for many years. So
3 years? Is it
for 3 years?
That's almost exactly 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is a little bit more excusable from a few years ago. This one could have been avoided, but it's okay. We will delay.
No, either way, I just mean we've done this surgery recovery thing with you.
We've done it.
We've already done it once, so we're good. We're good with it.
Good. We got in the system. It's all good.
Yeah. I can close the iris if you would like to.
Okay, cool. I had an idea, but if you want to go.
I don't have to. Sarah,
no, you go. You called it. Nose goes.
I haven't done it in a couple of times.
Yeah.
Too, so, all right. So Mara's quote here is going to help me out as well as some other things. But let me get queued up before I do it. This is Daddy Hammy. Listen, kids, I promise you I'll get some snacks. You just need to stay seated in the back seat and don't do drugs, kids. Don't do them. And close the iris.